Yeah.
Okay, Steve, we're recording now. So Steve, it was a kind of a last minute thing that we would have a conversation about our hairdressing life.
Yeah.
So there's nothing really planned. Let's just keep it very light. So when did you actually start hairdressing, Steve? Because I did mention in the email that we together, joint, we'd had 69 years experience in this industry, which obviously you're much older than me, of course.
Yeah.
So you had the 60 years and I had the 9 years.
Yeah.
So when did you actually start hairdressing?
I started hairdressing back in 1980. Literally just as sort of punk era, punk scene, and it was all through the music business that I got into hairdressing. It was literally I was looking for a job to do because I was doing semi-professional musician, and then I was looking for something to do. So because as you know, in the music game, it's always up and down, and it's not really a stable job. So I was just looking for something, and just on a whim, I went along to or booked an appointment to go and see a guy in a salon who just opened up and had my first interview. But funny enough, the night before, I went and saw this band that I've been waiting to see, and lo and behold, the guy that interviewed me was the lead singer out of the band. So the rest was history. So yeah, it's a good story. So yeah, I got into hairdressing, and I couldn't think of anything better. Running my fingers through girls' hair all day and being paid for it. It was great. Excellent. Yeah. So how about you? How did you get into it?
Well, I kind of fell into hairdressing really, Steve, because again, it was around the punk rock era.
Yeah.
But something always used to happen in my, and what it was, although my mother was not a hairdresser, everybody used to come to the house to have the haircut.
Yeah.
So in the 70s, when David Bowie had kind of released Ziggy Stardust, remember he had the spiky hair and it was orange. Well, at the time I had kind of long flicked hair, but I was only 10 or 11 at the time.
Yeah.
And I got a picture of my sister's magazine, what it's called. Got the name of the magazine down, but one of these magazines, and it had a picture of David Bowie with his red hair. And I stuck it on the back of the kitchen door, and I said to my mum, I want my hair just like that. And then she said, well, you're starting high school next week. Said, I don't care. I want it like that, really. She cut my hair like that. And actually, I just really fell into hairdressing then. So when the punk rock thing started, I've been cutting people's hair for a while. Probably when I was 13, I started to cut people's hair. And probably by the age of 15, punk rock was really happening. I was the one who used to cut everybody's hair, and I was kind of the allocated hairdresser. But funnily enough, I didn't actually get into hairdressing straight away, because I always had this. Just bear in mind, of course, this was 70s, 80s. I always thought it was a bit of a gay profession, and I was a bit nervous about getting into it,
Yeah.
So I became a landscape gardener for 4 years, and I hated it really, but I did it just for the money because I could buy myself a load of stuff. I did that for 4 years, and then eventually I thought, no, I'm going to try this hairdressing stuff and have a go. And it started from there really. So 1980, 82, I did college, finished, and started working in a salon. Actually, I finished my college in just over 12 months.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the full 2 years, I did it in 12 months, just over. And because I raced through everything, the teacher said to me, well, you can leave early if you like. If you can get a job in a salon, you can leave early. And I actually had the highest qualification in that college at the time. For all the years that had been there, nobody had had a qualification that high before. So I must, although I was simple at school, I must have been doing something right.
Yeah, like me, I was terrible at school, but yeah, and the same for me really. When I started in the salon, I did an apprenticeship, so I've actually got my apprenticeship papers, and I did that route. So a lot of my work was done actually in the salon. Now the interesting thing for me was that we did lots and lots of show work from the word go, which fulfilled that sort of stage side for me from the music industry. Yeah, so I enjoyed that. And then I went on to, quite early on, about in my third year, I went on to shop floor and was a very busy stylist, and then led up to managing a salon. And then we opened another salon in another town, and I took over managing that. And the business really, really grew from there. And so I started doing all the training, all the management for 2 salons, and then we gradually grew from there. And then about 1995, I decided to leave. I tried buying into the salons that I was in because I was always promised, but it didn't really transpire, you know. So anyway, I left and I opened my own salon in 1995 and made a complete hash of it for the first year. It's terrible.
Let me stop you there for a sec, right? So obviously you've been, like myself, you've been a hairdresser.
Yeah.
Working in a salon, managing these people who were paying in the backside and so on. You know, we're doing all the usual stuff. So this dream of opening your own salon, like I did as well. I mean, the difference for me is I got fired everywhere I worked. So I either got fired or I walked out. I couldn't tolerate being managed by someone else.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting. You very quickly understand that the owner of the salon has to manage the salon.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I've got my own stories of what happened from the day I opened my first salon. So, what about you, Steve? How easy was it to manage a salon when you opened it?
Well, when I first opened, it was just me, is myself, one other stylist, and a junior. Well, even before that, when I'd actually left, it was me and a junior, and we was doing it freelance because I was trying to train her up ready to open the salon. So we did that for about 6 months, and then we actually got the salon open, and I took on a stylist, a very young stylist, and then 2 juniors, and we just started building on the business. It grew very quickly, probably too quickly, in the first 3 years, and I ended up getting in quite a financial state. And then, you know, you start getting all the staff problems as well. And, you know, it's like when you're down, you know, all the problems come out of the woodwork. So I found myself, for the first time ever, having to ask for help and seeking consultancy, which is what I did.
I think one of the probably the differences with us is you had experience managing salons, so you had systems that you were just kind of following through, and so.
Yeah.
But when I opened my first salon, I had no idea. I just thought that if you have it in here, it'll all be fine. Yeah. I came from a different angle, really. And of course, I had a very similar situation, really. I mean, my first salon was only 250 feet. It was tiny. And I couldn't afford to refit it, so I sold my car to pay for the fit of the salon. But I did most of it myself. But it was just me and 2 staff. But very, very quickly, I realised that a couple of things going on. One, it was in a little shopping mall, but we were tucked right in a corner. So if nobody knew you were there, nobody knew you were there. Right. I realised, I thought, God, I'm going to have to. I didn't know anything about marketing at all, and so I thought, well, how do these people in? So somebody said, well, go to the printer in the village, and he'll print you some flyers you can push through people's doors. Yeah. So that's what I did, and it didn't really work. It didn't work at all, really. So obviously, the first thing I found out as a salon owner was the struggle to bring clients in. I'll tell you next in a minute, but just let me ask you, Steve, what about you? How was clients in initially? Because you said you quite fast.
Yeah, so I was lucky in that I left a salon. Huh?
How many salons were in the town where your salon was?
There was 13.
How many?
13.
How many? 30.
13. Yeah. I had a really good reputation where I used to work, and I took on the salon, and I was a really busy stylist. So I was a typical, very busy stylist, putting 95% of the money in the till, trying to do everything, trying to train people, trying to put money in the till, trying to do marketing, trying to look after clients.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, and it was really, really tough, you know, because it was trying to keep the standard of the business up, but of course you've got all the other things going on. And the thing that I wasn't really trained in, I was fine with people management, but one of my big things was the financial side. I just didn't understand it, so I didn't understand the numbers. So,
I know.
so like yourself, you know, I had systems to go into, which was great, but the numbers, I just kept, you know, I can always remember it, a little junior saying to me one Saturday, I was counting the money at the end of the day on a Saturday, and I looked into the till, and she was sitting next to me. She was just shaking her head. She was saying, and I looked at her and I said, "What's the matter?" So she said, "What do you do with all that money?"
That's right. Yeah, I know.
And it was like,
I pay everybody else apart from.
yeah, that's right. And I was, you know, all my staff, bar one, you know, one of the juniors, but all my team then, my young team of hairdressers was all earning more than I was.
Yeah.
And as I say, that's why eventually I sought help, because I just thought, I'm just being a busy fool, you know. I'm busy, but I'm not making any money. Pointless, you know.
And it's very common, Steve, like this, the salons I've dealt with over the years, you know, consulting and so on, common that the salon owner is taking over 50% of the income. I mean, about 2 years ago, I did some work with the biggest salons in London.
Yeah.
The salon owner. Now, he had actually just under 50 staff. I can't remember. I think there was 24, 25 stylists. Right? 24, 25 stylists. He was still taking more than 50% of the income.
Well.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
And it's a common mistake salon owners make, but I just wanted to say, like, but when I opened my first salon, one of the biggest headaches, apart from bringing clients in, of course, the second thing was just dealing with staff.
Yeah.
You know, very, very quickly, as a salon owner, these guys are almost robotic. They want to turn up, go and sit in the back, make a drink, have a coffee, and if a client comes in, it's always, so you can have 5 stylists free, and they're going, well, I'm not doing it, you do it. No, I'm not doing it. I'm just like, well, no, right?
Yeah.
So of course, the new skill you have to learn is how the hell do you deal with people? We're paying them more than we're getting paid. But you have to fight them. You have to fight them to do something. Yeah. So on the marketing side, and then on the people side, well, what do you think the biggest mistake you were making on the marketing in the early days? Or what's your biggest fail on that marketing?
The biggest mistake in the early days was I wasn't doing any, because I was really busy, and I thought I could do it through word of mouth.
Yeah.
But I soon realised that when I started taking, you know, new people on, although we was getting really good word of mouth going on in the town, it wasn't enough, because, you know, my team were growing, my juniors were ready to go on the shop floor. I was having to hold them back a bit. And then, of course, when they did become a stylist, I then got a full stylist wage to start paying.
Yeah.
So my biggest mistake was not doing anything, and literally I had to start learning really, really quick. I mean, the good thing is that, you know, I took steps to start learning, and I made some real bad mistakes. You know, I started off, got collared by one of the reps. You know, they said, oh, the saving grace was to spend $5,000 on this in-house magazine.
Yeah, that's right.
That'll save your business. That's great marketing. I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. So I did a photo shoot. That cost me $2,000 to do a photo shoot. Yeah. I thought, oh, great. You know, And then I'd just go around and post them all around the houses, which is what we did. And I think we got about 3 clients out of that.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was I signed up for a Salon system. I forgot what it's called now. Something called Computel at the time. Something like, I can't remember. But we signed up for the system, and I was always an early adopter. I always am, and I always have been with everything, really. So if something appears today, I tend to get into it if I think it's going to look cool, you know.
Yeah.
So in 1991, I was doing direct mail with a computer before any salon in the UK. So there's nobody doing it. We were sending out about 500 pieces of direct mail every week without fail. And we didn't have, and you know, 1991, you just didn't have the proper facility. You know, you had dot matrix printers, or you would take one letter to the printer down the road, but it wasn't personalised then. Because I wanted it to say, "Dear Steve, your hair's ready for a haircut, blah, blah, blah." So, I sourced this system, and what I didn't realise, because I was a bit like you, I'm not that great with numbers, really.
Yeah.
And this guy came in and he said it'll cost you £200 a month. Over the next 3 years, and it'll only cost you whatever. And I didn't realise in a lease that I just couldn't get out of. And for these two systems, believe it or not, over £20,000 just for these two old crappy computers.
No.
And I couldn't get out of it in the end. I couldn't get out of it. And broke probably 6 months into buying it. And this company would not repair it at all. And in the end, they went bust. But the point being is, there was still a valuable lesson from that. And it was this, that you have to go and get the clients. The clients won't just come to you. You have to go and get them. Because your salon, my salon, every salon, we're all losing 12 to 15% of our clients annually or every month. So 12 to 15% of clients disappear. But if we only have a 5% intake of new clients, the salon's dying. And most salon owners don't think about these numbers, and they are critical numbers, really.
Yeah.
So I think because I want to talk about your new life and all that stuff in your new salon in Australia and everything else at some point. But what do you think is the big thing that you learned through actually applying marketing into your business goes then? Because let's just change the word marketing for a minute. So we're not really talking about marketing as we know it. What we're talking about is systems to bring clients into the salon and on that chair and paying some cash. That's what we're talking about. So how do I get 120,000 people from this town? My salon is here, and I will use that salon. So what did you learn from? Apart from everything I taught you.
I think the really important thing was to understand your numbers and know how to measure your business, so that, you know, if you've got a hole in the bucket, that you know where that hole is and start to plug it. It's really important to be able to measure stuff as, you know, any of the sort of marketing you do, whether it be doing shows, whether it be doing, you know, stuff in shopping centres or whatever it might be, having a way of measuring that I learned, you know, that's so important, because then I could start saying, is it working? You know, and not going down a road of something where, you know, you're bashing your head and getting this stuff done, but actually it's not working. So we had to measure it. So that was probably one of the biggest things, and I became almost anal at measuring, which was good. You know, I went from one extreme, knowing nothing, to being able to pinpoint anything, you know, looking at a P&L and being able to say, well, I know what's going wrong, and that's what eventually led me on to going wrong. And so that's really important.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to hear that, because I don't have a salon now, but you reminded me of things I used to do, you know. So although I didn't really know the numbers, I knew that to get 1 or 2 clients in, because we didn't really measure it, to get a couple of new clients in, maybe 3 or 4, I knew for a fact I had to give out 100 flyers. So I couldn't give out 2 or 3 flyers and expect 2 or 3 clients in. We had to give out. So I got to a stage where I would give a list a pile of flyers, say 100, and we had certain systems set up. You know, they had to do the shops, or they had to be very specific as they were walking down the street. You couldn't just hand them out on the front like that.
Yeah.
So I used to say to my stylists, "Do not come back in the shop until you've handed out every single voucher, every single one." And of course, when you talk about dating and tracking and measuring, it used to have the expiry time or the expiry date on it as well. But yeah, it is interesting. I mean, you have to track and measure this stuff. But of course, as I got plans for my computing stuff, before I sold my salons in 2003, I understood that you had to track and measure the clients who were coming in or the response to the letters and some of the stuff we were doing. Because of course you suddenly find out how many clients are missing from the salon. You know that thing, Steve, right? When you've been doing Karen Tear for the past 12 years, and you think, God, I've not seen her for ages. And she walks past you on the street, she's had a haircut somewhere else, and she doesn't want to look at you, and you don't want to look at her. But you both want to know. Oh my God, I hope Steve didn't see me. And you're thinking, bitch.
That's right, yeah.
So,
I really looked after her.
Right? Yeah, go on.
So I'm saying, yeah, you come out with these things like, yeah, I really looked after her. I can't believe that. What a bitch.
Yeah. But the fact is, we didn't because she went somewhere else.
Absolutely.
But I worked out this system with this tracked and measured, which was to direct mail those clients to bring them back into Salon. Because I think being human, we are a bit sensitive. We think they've left the salon because they hate me. And actually, she still thinks Steve is great. But, you know, her husband may have lost his job. She may have lost a job. She may not be able to afford it that month. Or she may have got an offer to go somewhere else with her pal. She took the offer. She thinks, well, I'll have a go. And then she's thinking, well, I can't go to Steve now because I'm just going to be embarrassed. So there's lots and lots of reasons that she or he has gone somewhere else. Yeah. It's probably not the reason we think. So actually, actively pursuing those clients. And we got to a stage where we did a campaign where we got in over 90% of missing clients on one list. So that means if there was 100 clients missing, suddenly we had a new input, 90 clients spending money. Yeah. So you do have to chase that kind of stuff. Sorry, Steve, you going to say something?
Yeah, and I was going to say that, you know, that the thing that I really started to realise with all that was that, you know, I had systems for training people to cut hair, I had systems, procedures for client care and all the rest of it, and I had actually built systems and procedures for my financial stuff and my management. You know, I used to take a day off on a Tuesday to do all my, you know, all my admin stuff and run the salon and stuff. So I was working on it and not in it. But then I think the penny dropped for me when I started having a system of marketing, you know, getting new people in. So I started to have all these systems to help grow my business and get new clients through the door. Because, you know, at the end of the day, it was particularly when we went through the recession that the big problem was that everybody wanted your clients, and your client had to make the decision essentially. And we was more of a top end salon, so you know the average spend was high. You know, do they go on holiday or do they have their hair done? I can remember clients saying that to me. You know, of course they chose to have their hair done, but that's how it got. You know, it was literally, do I buy a new dress or do I have my hair done? It weren't, I can have both. I have to choose. So you have to, you know, I had to have a way of making them choose us. Partly, a big part of that was through marketing.
I think I learned with the hairdressing salons also that it took me a while to learn it, but people tend to think that this is a disaster or I have to pay tax, or that doesn't work, or the plumbing's failed, or whatever. After a few years, I kind of learned that that is part of business. So instead of seeing it as a disaster or a negative, it's actually part of business. You know, you can't have really one without. You can't have summer without winter, and you can't have spring without an autumn. So really, business is kind of, it's a little bit seasonal, but obviously we have storms that we don't like that maybe create a bit more problems than we wanted. But just on that front, one thing I discovered in the salons was, obviously there was always an issue with staff.
Yeah.
So I designed a system which the listeners, might be. I designed a system where we used to always lose our stylist after the 18 months without fail. That went for a while, really. And I used to think, God, what am I going to do here? So instead of thinking, oh my God, somebody's left again, I always took a stylist on the basis that I knew they would leave in 18 months. So I created a system with new come-through stylists all the time. So I did two things. One, I always had stylists in the wings ready to break through. Because you know what they're like, Steve? It's like they're ready to break through. You don't quite want to let them on the floor because you don't think they're not going to be quite right.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to put things right. You're going to have to speak to them and so on. But if you don't put them on the shop floor, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I always had this system that I had these new kids pushing through all the time, just ready to run it, so that when these staff left, they'd be able to come on the shop floor. But this created an even bigger problem for me. And the bigger problem was I also worked out how to keep staff. So my staff started staying for 8, 9 or 10 years. In fact, towards the end of the salon, when I sold it, the staff had all been there between 8 and 10 years, most of the staff. And so the salon started to grow really, really fast, because I had these new guys coming through, and they wanted to go on the shop floor or they would leave. And I had these stylists now who were growing with the salon and just refused to leave.
Yeah.
It was a good problem.
Yeah.
The reason they stayed was I did something that no salons were doing at this time. I'm not really sure if people do it now, but salons I speak to, they definitely don't. And that is really giving stylists what I thought they would want from the job. When I used to interview them, I used to say to them, tell me exactly what you need in your life to make you happier. So, for instance, one of the guys who worked for me, he said, well, I really need to get out of the house. I need my own house. I said, okay. So, and then the other thing he needed was a new car. So what I did, I built his job around him buying a new house. So I worked out his mortgage, I worked out his repayments, I worked out his deposit, you name it, I worked out absolutely everything for his house. And I also worked out his repayments on his car. So what I then did is I then built his job around this, and I had a financial advisor come to the salon to set up a mortgage for him and everything.
Right.
I used to then say to him, look, Darren, his name was. I said, well, okay, Darren, listen, here's what we've got. If you do this every week, then he knew his salon figure. If you do, say, £2,000 every week, which you could do in the salon, you do £2,000 a week, that means you'll be able to afford the mortgage, and you'll still be able to afford to go on holiday, and you'll still be able to afford this car. So in his, suddenly, the job was no longer a job. It was a way to for his life. And I used to do that with all my staff, and the difference it made, Steve, was just absolutely monstrous. It was just monstrous. I had a new girl, Mandy, start at the salon, and she was manageress. She was brilliant. And I said to her, what do you want? And she was pregnant with a second child. And she said, well, the one thing we really need to do is, I forgot her husband's name, but he'd lost his job, just. He was in marketing, actually, but he'd lost his job. So we're about to have the second child. We're in this one-bedroom house. And I set the same thing up again, and she never left. and I did the same with all the staff. So I think the reason it's worth is because it does take time to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
I think really in the internet age, we do everything yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's just not possible. What do you think?
No, that's right. Yeah. No, it's not. I think it's, you know, it is, people do want, you know, everything instantly and want, you know, I just want it fixed now, you know, and you're right, you have to put the time in, you have to put in, you know, you have to find out what people's pain points are and what they need from their job and stuff. So that's really important. We used to do a similar thing where I used to employ a lot of back to work mums, and we actually did a case study for the government, work-life balance it's called, and we proved financially that we could make the business profitable and still have all the mums have 6 weeks holidays as long as we manage their columns properly. We could do that. So that worked really really well. But on the other side of the coin was, you know, these young stylists would start on and they just, it's almost like, and I still see it today, you know, they almost demand that they're busy. You know, where's my clients?
Yeah.
No, just sit there, you know. And as we both know, it's changed so much. I mean, we've had more change in the last 4 years than I think the whole of the hairdressing history. It's just massive change, and I think if you're still doing stuff that you used to be doing, you know, you need to really start looking at what you're doing and moving stuff forward.
Just highlight a couple of those changes.
A couple of those changes is how much the internet plays a part now in everything that we do, and I'm not talking about Facebook. It's, I think, you know, Facebook has a little bit of help towards your marketing and stuff, but there's so much more, you know, and I just see it time and time again that people are just relying on that one thing rather than looking at many different aspects of their growing their business, you know. You know, again, I think it's you know, the clients are so much more aware of what's going on because of the internet. You know,
reviews.
They know before many stylists what the new looks are. You know, before stylists what the new colouring techniques are, because they've seen it all on social media or you know, newspapers. And of course, it's so instant now. You know, we stopped things like buying magazines in the salons now. We have a handful, but it's because you can get all the access on the internet.
Yeah.
You know, so we just have iPads in the salon that we can use.
Yeah.
So you have to really, you know, even if you hate technology, you've got to adopt it. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. And I think you've got to adopt systems so that you don't get lost in it all, because there's so much going on. It's so easy to get completely overpowered by it and need that system, that systematic thing that you're doing day in, day out, spending maybe 15 minutes on your business where you're just following a system to get everything going. So I think that's different.
You know, for me, like, I mean, obviously, I had my salons for nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
And I had, you know, in the past, since 2003, I've worked with hundreds of different businesses, from Fortune 50s even, to people who want to launch on the stock exchange and all kinds of things. And to be honest with you, the one thing interesting for me, I always relate all my work with these big companies still to hairdressing.
Yeah.
Because I think most of the stuff I learned came from dealing with people one-to-one. And the one thing I always do when I work with a client is, the first thing I always do is strip everything back to the human being.
Yeah.
Although technology, for instance, I had some trousers altered last week, as an example. So the first thing I did is I had looked for alterations in this town called Hale where we live. I had looked for alterations, and the first thing Google brings up is reviews.
Yeah.
So one of the places that I wanted to take my trousers, do a 1 hour turnaround, had a 3-star review. So it was for my wedding, these trousers. So I thought, well, tomorrow I was saying, don't take your wedding trousers there, just in case. I said, well, I want these trousers just for the weekend because I bought 3 pair of trousers. So I thought, well, I'll take 1 pair of trousers, and I picked them up on Saturday. And to be honest, they did a crap job.
Yeah.
Which, the point is, I'd read the review, and I knew it wasn't going to be great, because this company had loads of reviews that just really weren't that good. And one lady said, if you are married, do not take your stuff to this place. So, but same with salons as well now.
Yeah.
If somebody gets a bad haircut, the first thing they do is they post it all over Facebook, all over Twitter, all over Instagram, all over their social media, on their whatever, their email in, they say, email, look at the state of this. You know, they're sat there with a, look at it's impossible to get away from.
Yeah.
So, but the point being really is, I think some people get so wrapped up in technology, they do forget about that one-on-one thing.
Yeah, because then
back.
Yeah.
What?
No, I was going to say, yeah, because people buy people, you know, and it's at the end of the day, it's all about the people thing. Because I mean, you know, we've all had mistakes happen in salons. You know, it happens to everybody, and it happen in the future as well. But it's the way that you deal with it, so that you know those clients don't go straight on social media, because you're being professional about what you've done and all the rest of it. Deal with it. But you're right. It's about building those relationships with customers, getting feedback, regular feedback from customers, and managing that so that you've got your finger on the pulse of the business. I learned a lot of this, massive amounts of this, when I moved over to Australia from the UK, and I still had a salon running. You know, I was still sending mystery clients in. We was doing various things to measure what was going on in the salon, because I wasn't there. I could only be told by my manager what was happening.
Yeah.
You know, and it was quite interesting.
Yeah, and I think the lesson there obviously is that, you know, as a salon owner today, you are. I mean, I'm amazed actually how many salon owners still don't use computers.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I find it shocking because they see a computer as a cost. Well, actually, if you're paying, say, even if you're paying £500 a month, right, which is obviously a lot of money for a small salon, you pay £500 a month. There's no reason, if you use a computer properly, it shouldn't increase your takings by £100 a day. No question. No question whatsoever. But a lot of salon owners are still going, oh God, you know, £500 a month, I'm never going to be able to afford it.
Yeah.
But that's the difference. When you start to see marketing for the salon as an investment rather than a cost, that's different. But just going back to that sewing thing, because I think it's relevant for salons as well. I think what's interesting about that sewing thing, right, is so this shop that I took the trousers to, it's called the Zip Yard, and the Zip Yard is a franchise that last over their window they won franchise of the year in the UK. Now I could have gone into the town to where the proper classic tailor is. He probably would have charged me £15. You go in the change room, you put your trousers on, he measures your inside leg, your outside leg. He'll even say to you which side to hang on, because it makes a difference to the leg. So he does all that stuff, right? But why did I not go to him and I went to the Zip Yard? The reason is the Zip Yards are brilliant at marketing. That's it. They use technology, they're using the web, they're using social media, they're using all this stuff. They're brilliant at marketing. Yet they are a 3-star business. And when you went in, Steve, every rail was packed. Completely packed. You go into traditional tailors, you don't see any items being... They'll say to you, yeah, we do one now and again, although they advertise alterations. Now, I see the same with salons. You can go to a brilliant salon, and you know these guys are all rock and roll. Everything is just brilliant what they're doing. Best technique, best colour, best service, best everything. What happens? You go in, the salon's dead. You go to a mediocre salon down the road, brilliant on Facebook, brilliant on Instagram, on social media, brilliant on emailing, brilliant with text. You know, they're brilliant with everything, and they're packed. I had a stylist years ago called Sharon, and Sharon, if you're listening to this, you know it's true. She was a extremely average hairdresser. See, I wouldn't let her cut my grass. There's no way. I just wouldn't let her cut my grass. She marketed herself so well. In my salon, she worked for me for nearly 10 years. From morning till night, she was. Seen that right? Yeah. You get the guy, Darren, who was brilliant. He was kind of okay, busy. Sharon, who was not that brilliant, she was packed. So what's the lesson? The lesson is, if you're no good at marketing your business, or you're not going to embrace it with technology these days, you're completely screwed. You really are. Yeah. And I think the next couple of years, especially with technology, the way it's going, if you don't embrace this stuff, your salon will close. Yeah. Because good hairdressing in 2018 will not be enough. There's no way.
No.
What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think it's so important. I remember just as a really good example, we when text messaging to start coming out, text reminding your clients, about their appointments. We lost on one salon 1 year over £60,000, right, in missed appointments. People didn't turn up for their appointment.
Yeah.
And that was purely though. Then we monitored this like mad because I was going crazy about it. Why is this person? You ring them up and I say, "Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm so busy, I forgot." I looked at investing in text messaging for a computer system, which I thought was a lot of money, but it was nowhere near £60,000.
Yeah.
And it literally almost annihilated it overnight.
Yeah.
Just
that's right,
overnight. And I use it to this day. And people say to me, "What a fantastic service," because I get the text to remind me about my appointment. So people expect and they think it's a great service. So if the salon down the road's not doing it, and I am. That's another reason for us. I like going there because they text me the day before because people are so busy.
Well, I know for a fact, Steve, Tamara has never had a single reminder of any salon she's been to. Never.
Right.
She's never had a direct mail, a card, an email, text or anything.
Yeah.
So, for example, as you know, I go to the gym, workout and all that stuff. So I try and avoid bad foods.
Yeah.
There's one person who texts every single week. It disrupts my whole routine, and it's Domino's Pizza. So this day, because we went to New York to get married, I'm on this keeping fit and all this stuff, and I got a text and it was Domino's Pizza, and it was 2 13-inch pizzas for the price of one. So I said to my son, "Should we get a pizza?" And we had a Domino's Pizza. But you know what? You think of it right, Steve.
Yeah.
Everybody walks around with it in their pocket.
Absolutely.
And of course, all the younger people, the girls and the guys, they walk around with that. Yeah. God knows how they find their way anywhere these days. They're probably walking. No wonder people are getting killed for texting. But anyway, so if they've got this on them all the time, why are we not texting and emailing? It doesn't make sense. Or even messaging or whatever you've created for your little gang to hang out on. Why are salons still not using this stuff? It's a complete fail for salons. Yeah. And really, picking this stuff up now and using it, you're going to be way back. Big time.
Yeah.
Steve, tell me the most valuable thing you've learned in hairdressing salon, or as a salon owner. What's the most valuable thing you've ever learned?
The most valuable thing is how to market my business properly. Yeah. That's the real key for me because, it doesn't matter how good my stylists are, doesn't matter how good my systems are, my training and all the rest of it. I'll grow slightly through word of mouth, but I need to be able to get new clients through the door. you know, and for all those reasons you were saying earlier, you know, there's a natural fall off of clients. You've always got, you're going to have some hole in the bucket. It might be a new stylist you take on, and there's going to be a hole there until you get them right, and then you take a new one on, there's going to be a hole in the bucket. So understanding marketing, and as you know, I've spent so much time on this, like understanding the internet, understanding how to the numbers work in my business so I can market the right things at the right time. All this stuff is just so important. I couldn't emphasize enough how important that is. And I see it all around the world. As you know, I do quite a lot of traveling. I spend a lot of time in the States, and, you know, I see it over there that some of the bigger salons, they're doing some amazing, amazing stuff to market their businesses. They're just, it's incredible what they're doing. You know, just, you know.
Like what?
Things like, there's a guy, he'll do a haircut, and then he will then set his iPad up and he'll film the blow dry.
Yeah.
Right? And then the client gets that movie, he emails it back, you know, to them so that when they get home, they can then watch how the hair was blow dried. Now, how cool is that?
That is just insane.
Isn't it?
It's funny, one of the upgrades on the Salon Extreme 21 manual is it's a periscope.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, you can imagine it. If you make an announcement that there's going to be a live periscope presentation on such a day, such a time, and it's Steve doing like a, you know, a total before and after. What a brilliant way! What a brilliant way to bring clients into Salon. I mean, you could even take a big iPad down or create a live transmission into somebody else's business. Like another business where, you know, like say going down into Costa Coffee, they have a transmission of you doing a periscope live of a before and after, and you've got a coffee shop full of, like, you know, 25 women or 20 guys who are all looking for a restyle or whatever. Yeah. It's just brilliant. Just complete. Yeah. You're not harnessing that stuff these days. Look, I'll tell you one of the biggest things I learned really was actually initially taking 2 days off the shop floor to manage my business. Yeah. It took me years to learn that because it does feel like a big step. And then, of course, I came up for the final 2 years, I came off the shop floor completely. But and interesting, coming off the shop floor actually doubled my turnover in the salon. So it didn't increase it slightly, didn't decrease it at all. But when you knew how to market your business, you knew that you need time to do this stuff. Yeah. If you don't do it, who's going to do it? Yeah. Do you know what? I did a similar thing. I can remember it so clearly. I wanted to take a day off the shop floor, so I worked out how much I would lose, and I put my prices up by that much, right? And I can remember the night before I was shitting myself because I didn't tell anybody. I just thought I'm going to do it, and I was, you know, I was just thinking, oh, no. Yeah, and I was thinking, oh no, you know what's, oh God. Anyway, I got into the salon because I didn't announce it. I didn't put up, you know, I thought, well, Tesco's and Sainsbury's, they don't announce that price of peas are going up, so I'm not going to. I just said, you know, and if anyone moaned, I said, right, at this time it'll be what you paid last time, but in future it's always going to be that. Yeah. And do you know what happened? I just got busier. Yeah, and I took more money. And then I had a day off, you know, to get to work on the business. So from personal experience, I know you've experienced it, I've experienced it, it just so works. You know, once you start working on your business and getting all this stuff right, it just makes a massive, massive. I'll tell you how I came off the shop floor, Steve. So that again, sorry? I didn't want to come off the shop floor. I was crapping myself, really. Because I thought my business will completely collapse. So, this is absolutely true. I went into the salon one day, my arm in a sling, and I told everyone I'd broken my arm. And I worked out my arm should be broken in 6 weeks. That'll give me 6 weeks off the shop floor to feed all my clients into different columns. So I used to go into the salon with my arm and and I used to go speak to the staff. Then I used to go upstairs into my office, take the sling off, and then work on practicing all day. So I did it quite scientifically. I had cameras set up in the shop so I could keep my eye on the salon because I was no longer in the salon. I was upstairs in the office.
Yeah.
See what was going on in my little portable TV at the time. Portable. I mean, who has a portable TV these days?
Yeah.
A little portable TV. I would watch what was going on the floor, watch the staff. I'd have my sling around my thing. If there was a knock on the door, I used to go. and put the sling on as fast as I could. But that's how I got off the shop floor, and it worked for me for sure. So
That's a good one.
We're going to have to wrap this call up. Obviously, there's going to be people listening to this, and of course, people are not stupid. We're trying to help people with their salons by investing in the Salon Extreme 21 manual. I mean, it is a big manual. It's getting bigger and bigger because of the updates that are going in it. It's really designed for people who've doing any marketing, or people who want to take the marketing one step further. So, what would you say on that front, just to try and encourage salon owners? Because there is a money back.
Sorry, I missed that.
I'm saying that there is a money back guarantee as well, of course. There's no risk.
Yeah. No, that's it. But I think for me, this is the first I know of where there is actually a step-by-step proper marketing manual. I mean, there's lots of things for other types, sides of your business, but it's the first time I've seen something that's a step-by-step how to market your business. But not only that, it's right hot up to date. And as you say, you've got Periscope. I mean, most people maybe don't know what we're talking about with Periscope, because that's really new. And there's other new technologies coming out, and I know that that's right up to the minute. And it's so critical that you get to grips with this stuff. And the great thing about having a manual is you can put it on your desk, right? You haven't got to fire your computer up and try and work through a bit of software. It's really easy. You can just flip it open and start working through that workbook and really hone your marketing. I think that's the real key to it, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
It's just.
Well, the thing is, it was designed. I mean, I've seen over the past. Of course, I wrote my first manual, really very light manual, probably 95, which became Salon Builder 99. But all these downloads and all that stuff, people just don't use them. I mean, I've downloaded ebooks and never opened them a million times. I bet you have as well, right?
Yeah.
But with the manual, it's designed to be on the desk. There's lots of space in it so you can write everywhere as well. It has things like text. It has like a section on tagging, on selfies online, Kardashian type stuff, Periscope, Skype consultations. There's tons of stuff in there.
Yeah.
So, it's strong stuff. So, anyway, anything else you want to say before we go? Because we need to wrap up.
No, I just think, it's something that if you're out there and you're looking at your business. I mean, I get so many emails all the time about, how can I build my clients? How can I get more clients through the door? This really has come along at such a good time. It's such good timing. We've got Christmas coming up. It's just absolutely brilliant timing for that. And I think if you don't get something like this in your salon, you're nuts. Absolute nuts. And it would take you. You think how long it's going to take you to learn? If you tried learning that off your own back, it would take years. It's just so no. It's that's what I'd say. You need to really seriously look at it. Really. Yeah.
Okay, Steve, it's been great speaking to you. Just give us a little on because obviously you've gone from England to Australia. As fast as you can, though. How did all that come around? Because I mean, moving to Australia is kind of I see your pictures on Facebook every day, and your little speedo trunks on the beach doing that stuff and all that.
That's right.
So how's that transition gone? It's a bit of a dream lifestyle probably for people listening to this.
Yeah, it was a real lifestyle decision. We had in the finish, we had five salons going at different times. And we had over 60 staff. For me, I just felt that I needed to move on and start doing something else. We've been to Australia on holiday a few times. I love the lifestyle, and I just thought I want to move my kids to a better lifestyle. And the great thing is, because of the stuff that I know, I come straight over to Australia. I had a year off, and then I was doing consultancy work, and then opened a small little boutique salon and set up a magazine, which is something that has always been my passion to do.
Yeah. Well,
get the opportunity.
For anyone listening, Steve, where did they find that magazine?
Oh, it's salonopinion.com.
Right.
It's a free magazine, and we literally interview salon owners from all around the world, people that are doing amazing stuff.
It's a brilliant magazine, I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just like some of the stuff we see is just absolutely incredible, But yeah, so it was moving over here and the lifestyle. Where I live is beautiful. I live just near the beach, 5 minutes from the beach. I go running along the seafront most mornings in my Speedos, and I have parrots every day on my veranda. We're surrounded by lorikeets and king parrots and that. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Of course, the weather's beautiful. So a real lifestyle decision, but I couldn't have done it if I hadn't, got to grips with all this stuff. That's the thing, because you can.
What's really cool, Steve, is you've created a lifestyle that you've probably dreamt about and always wanted.
Yeah.
From hairdressing.
Yeah, that's right. And it's an awesome profession.
People can't even buy a new car from the hairdressing salons, but you've proved somebody people.
Yeah.
No, you've proved that hairdressing can, you can live the life of your dreams and achieve what you want.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I love the thing that you said there, that you took a year off as well. And then instead of going like, I want a 30 stylist salon, started with a little boutique. Because the thing is, it does takes you back to your roots, and this is how it really works again, stripping it all back again.
Yeah.
See,
it's been fascinating.
Sorry, go on.
No, so it's been really fascinating because when I first opened, I didn't have a computer. I was just using the appointment book again, paper and pencil, and my God, did I notice it. So, as soon as I could, I actually come across a really, really good piece of software that's so cheap. But it's awesome. Great for like whether you're a small salon or whether you're a large salon. It's brilliant. You run it on your phone.
Just a question there. Is that Salon software or independent?
It's Salon software, yeah.
Because I don't know, I found most Salon software it doesn't do the job. It just doesn't do the job at all.
This is really good. I mean, it's worth they do a free trial. It's just easy peasy the way they've set it up, and it's a company called Timely. It's called gettimely.com, but the software itself is called Timely, and it's great. I mean, there's some things it doesn't do, but it does almost everything as far as texting the clients and all that sort of stuff. And it's really, you put your credit card in. If you like it, you try it for a month. Then you put your credit card details in. There's no sign up. You can stop whenever you want. You top your taxes up as you go along. And it's easy, but it's just getting better and better. And the support's pretty good as well.
Okay, Steve. Well, listen, maybe we'll leave the technology for another conversation. But it's great speaking to you. Get the spare room ready. We're heading over.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had our very first morning today where we can see our breath in the air.
Yeah.
So
right. Oh, wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll catch up probably in the week. It's been great speaking to you. We'll speak soon.
And you, mate.
And if anybody wants to, if anyone on the call wants to try and Salon Extreme 20, just follow the links and we'll follow through this call as well. It's salon.com, Salon Extreme 21. And and of course, there's a money back guarantee. You get tons of support with this manual as well. Okay, Steve. Thanks for your time. Speak soon.
Cheers, Alan. Take care, mate.
Bye. Bye.